What's going on, Tan and J Man Show Nation? It is Monday night. It's June 23rd, 2025. So you know what that means. A brand new episode of the Tan and J Man Show, streaming live on the IC Sports Network, on the IC Sports Network YouTube channel, their Twitch channel, the Tan and J Man Show Facebook page, the Tan and J Man Show YouTube channel, and of course, audio available on all major podcast platforms. Episode 449, J Man, almost to 450.
That's wild. 450 episodes. How many years since it'll be 9 years in November, I think, since we've been doing
9 years in November, yeah.
That's crazy. 9 years. Wow.
A lot has changed in those 9 years in our lives and just particularly in the sports world. A lot has happened.
Yeah, we go back 9 years in the sports world and probably be almost unrecognizable at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I remember we started it just a month after the Cubs won the World Series. The Broncos were coming off a Super Bowl victory the year prior.
Yeah, glory days for us.
Literally didn't make the playoffs until this past season.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that Andy Bernard quote in The Office, something about the good old days. I wish we knew we're in the good old days now, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was close. I forget what it was exactly, but
but I've been prompted by my wife to tell everyone, excuse the mess behind me. We're in the process of moving in 2 weeks, and our house is a nightmare. So
my office is always messy up here.
I promised her I'd say something that it's not always this messy, but in reality, a lot of the times it is this messy behind me. But,
you did what you're supposed to do. You know, you're a good husband. Listen to your wife.
Yep. That's half the battle right there.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
I have some birdie bogey for you this week. We'll see if we'll see what happens.
Great.
You're only 2 strokes back.
That's amazing. I feel like I'm 8 back.
Yeah, we're 6 months into the year, and I'm a +7. You're a +9.
Man,
so
I don't think I've got a birdie yet, J Man.
Tonight's the night. I feel good about your chances tonight.
You go from we'll see what happens to tonight's the night. Okay.
Tonight's the night. I have complete confidence in you that you will.
Makes one of us.
Yeah. What quarterback in NFL history has the most touchdown passes in a career without throwing? Oh, I'm gonna start that over. I had it worked out in my head and like, oh, that's perfect. And then of course I start talking and it's just. What quarterback in NFL history has the most touchdown passes in a career while throwing less than 150 interceptions?
Wow, that's a really good question. Wow.
Yeah. Birdie or Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House for good cuisine, cocktails, located 703 Main Street in Rochester, Indiana.
And let's see what they had over the weekend. The weekend special was creamy shrimp enchiladas. Come on in out of the heat and enjoy our weekend specials. Artichoke crab dip, creamy shrimp enchilada. Flavorful shrimp, onions, garlic, peppers, lime wrapped in corn tortillas and topped with a creamy salsa verde sauce. Served with cilantro, lime rice, and a side salad for $28.
I tell you, it has been a hot one.
Oh my gosh.
Hot few days here in the Midwest. I think today here in the Chicagoland, it hit 97 degrees. You just I just walk outside and instantly just beads of sweat on the brow. It doesn't take much at all. Now I'm sitting here in my house. I have it set at 68 degrees and I still feel a little warm for whatever reason. So it's a good week to have a pool, and hopefully it'll cool down here soon because I'm not built for this heat. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer 95 degrees or do you prefer 20 degrees?
I hate them both.
If you had to pick one, which one you picking?
Well, 20 degrees, I'm not going outside at all unless I absolutely have to. 95, I still might go out. I guess if I had to pick one, I can, man. I think it's easier to get warm than it is cool.
Interesting. So you'd prefer the 20-degree weather, huh?
I don't know. Man, that's a good question. It
Yeah,
depends
that's
on
a
the
tough one.
day.
Yeah. Um, just we we get 20-degree days in the winter and we walk outside and we're like, man, I wish it was 95 degrees right now. And now it's 95 degrees. Like, man, I wish it was winter.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm probably choosing the 95 degrees
Yeah.
as well. Just because you can go jump in a pool. It doesn't hurt to be outside. You're not
That's true.
comfortable. But 20 degrees and below, it can actually physically hurt to be outside at
That's
times.
true.
So
I mean, you do have to be careful of heat stroke in
you
weather
do,
like
yeah.
this,
Just drink
but
a lot of water.
sunburns, put
Um,
sunscreen on.
yeah, yeah. But
Mhm.
I I will go on record and say I dislike both about equally.
Yeah, they
So
they both are not ideal. Ideal's like mid 80s.
mid
Not ideal.
80s. That's a little warm for me too. I was
Low
I was
80s,
thinking like
high
low set.
70s.
I was thinking like 71
Okay.
with
Even though
a
fall is my favorite season, but
same. Honestly, my favorite type of weather is whether I can wear a long sleeve shirt with shorts
yeah,
on. So like 62. It's probably perfect weather for the J man.
I'm a
Uh,
big hoodie guy, so
me
anytime I
too.
can wear a hoodie.
Yeah, big fan of hoodies.
That
Uh,
Moody on Facebook, 20 degrees and right clothing is perfect. 95 and above is frowned upon, stripping down upon them.
yeah. That is a good point. You can layer up in 20 degrees and get yourself comfortable. Where there's nothing you can do for
Yeah.
95. You could be in your birthday suit and still be
It's
pretty
still
uncomfortable.
sweating in
So
places you shouldn't be sweating.
yeah, that's a very good point.
Thad, what's the temperature right now in El Paso?
Oh
Just
man,
curious.
yeah.
Curious.
El Paso, is that in the mountains? I don't know anything about Texas.
It's
I know
very southern part of
I
Texas.
know it's near the border, like right on the border, pretty much. I
I'm
know
pretty sure it is in the mountains because when Purdue played in 3 Sun Bowls out in 4 years, it
it's
seemed
always
like they were always
cold
showing
there.
mountains.
Yeah, and it always the Sun Bowl always seems like it's got a little bit of coldness to it. My wife's grandfather was just down in San Antonio and said it hit. Think he said it hit 105 every single day. He was down there, and so they didn't go outside of the house from about 10 a.m. to about 10 p.m. He said it was not very fun.
Man, a buddy of mine, he is touring with the band he works with right now on a concert. I don't know what city they're in today, but I saw the temperature in his vehicle said 124.
I know it's been hot in like Arizona. It's always hot in Arizona.
I'm looking where they
Um,
are now.
I bet it was or like Nevada or Arizona, New Mexico.
Let's try Kansas.
That was way
Well,
off.
Kansas is their next date. That's on the 26th. I guess he
Oh,
could be
okay.
somewhere else en route. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a fan.
No.
Not a fan at
Nope.
all. But
Nope.
it's only June too. It's not even August. It's not
I
even
know.
July at
I
this point.
know. It
Gotta.
is supposed to cool back down to like 80s this weekend.
I'll
Here
take
at
it.
least, and that'll be feel nice. And I even saw next Wednesday's like 79. So
Oh man, it's right
yeah,
in the wheelhouse.
right around 4th of July time. So
Perfect. Perfect.
another thing I'm not a fan of is guys getting injured in sports.
Hmm.
Real quick before I hit on that, Thad says feels like 97 UV index of 8. Few mountains here in northern Mexico. It's cold for the Sun Bowl. El Paso cold of like 45 degrees. It was 103 plus all last week.
Yeah, that's not fun.
No,
I would say it feels like 97. I think today here we hit like a heat index feels like 102. So
let's see.
got you beat there, Thad.
Right now it is 90 in Fort Wayne. Had 93 was the high. Uh, feels like 94.
Oh,
So.
all right.
Hmm.
Not fun.
So, but yeah, athletes getting injured. I hate to see it no matter when, where, to who it happens to, but especially in a crucial, critical moment in a game like Game 7 of the NBA Finals in the first quarter.
Yeah, the Pacers' best player too.
Yes.
It wasn't some role player, even if it was a role player, you still wouldn't want to see it at all. But unbelievable run in the postseason, in the playoffs for Halliburton, and then to see it come crashing down like that with a terrible, terrible injury that will likely put him out all of next season too.
Yeah.
Um,
I
that
presume if his recovery goes well, he might be able to come back in April.
maybe
I
that's
don't know
I
though.
mean, that's 10 months. That's kind of seems like it'd be pushing it for an Achilles,
Yeah.
but hey, who knows? Modern medicine's pretty incredible. But yeah, that's gonna go down as one of the greatest what ifs in sports history because he was cooking early.
He was
I think he hit three threes within the
3 for
first
4. Yeah.
7 minutes or so,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just terrible. I mean, you knew it was Achilles immediately when you saw that calf ripple, and it's a shame because again, what if he stays healthy? There's no guarantee they win that game, but it obviously gives them a much better chance because they went a stretch of I don't know 8 minutes where T.J. McConnell was the only one that scored
Yep.
during
Third
that
quarter.
stretch in the third quarter. So yeah, it's just an absolute shame to a guy that seems like a really good dude,
Mm.
and obviously one of the better players in the NBA.
Well, right when he went down, of course, I was like, well, there goes the game for the Pacers. Even though, to their credit, they fought their
They
butts
did,
off and were
yeah,
up 1.5. But also me thinking, I'm like, well, there goes next season for the
yeah.
Pacers. Like they're good enough, I think, even without him, they have good enough players to get in the playoffs,
Mm.
but they're not gonna I don't think do any damage.
No, and I mean, there's no guarantee if, say, Halliburton comes back and is able to come back in April and they make the playoffs that he's, even close to the kind of player he is right now. After missing an entire season, of course, he'd have all summer next year to work on it and get back to that player he was. But Achilles is it's a tough recovery. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had it, of course, and he looked like a shell of himself last year. Of course, he's 40 something years old, not 26, 27. Dan Marino had an Achilles injury, and he was never the same guy after that. Kevin Durant, he had Achilles too, as well
Yeah, in the finals.
in the finals. Yeah, and he's been a good player, and of course, he's just getting older.
What
Jason
is it,
Tatum,
37 now, I think?
yeah, and of course, he was just traded. We can talk about that
Yep.
here in a few minutes. But Jason Tatum as well will be kind of in the same boat.
Yep.
He'll have a few month head start on his recovery with Halliburton, but his was Achilles too, right?
Yep.
Okay, I
Yeah.
was second guessing myself there
These
for a second.
calf strains, man, if I'm a player anymore and I get a calf strain, I understand in this situation, he felt like if he set out, he would regret it for the rest of his life.
For sure,
But
yeah,
these calf strains, especially like if it's regular season, you better sit until that thing's healthy because
yeah,
more times than not, it pops into an Achilles anymore. And it's crazy because, like, I heard Colin Coward talking about, back in the day, Achilles heel injuries happen to people like in their 50s.
yeah,
Now it's happening to younger and younger people because they're playing more. And he was a proponent, like you text our group last night saying he thinks there shouldn't be a 7 game series until at least the conference finals.
yeah, yeah. And I was just kind of saying that kind of be funny, because I do think the NBA playoffs take way too long. They're 2+ months. That's a lot of games that they
Sure.
have to play still after playing 82 games in the regular
Yep.
season. Um, and maybe go a best of five, then you do best of 7 for the final 2 rounds of the entire playoffs. But yeah, that's a lot of wear and tear, regardless of how young you are or how in shape you are. That's a ton of pressure being put on those ankles and those calves. I mean, you saw it. I mean, he put, I don't know how many pounds of pressure that was, but him taking off, he literally caught it and stepped. Could happen to anyone really. And it was pretty gruesome.
And going back to the idea of shortening the series at least to the conference finals, I mean, when MJ played and the NBA was at his peak as far as popularity and ratings, it wasn't 7 game series in the
No,
first round.
no.
Even way back in the day, it was 3 games in the first round.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Last night I said a 3 game series in the first round, 5 game series second, and then you go 7 in the conference finals, 7 in the finals. I don't think and as you said, it's all about money. They're
it
never
is.
going to shorten it because they have these incredible TV deals. A 3 game series would be fascinating though, because you'd see some upsets
Hmm.
like crazy, and it creates a sort of parity, kind of like the NHL has,
Yeah.
where you can see teams get hot and kind of get in to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Even though I would argue NBA's got a lot of parity. I mean, this is 7 years in a row with
Yeah,
different champions. So
they definitely do.
it's hard to go back to back. I mean, the Thunder are young, extremely young. They look like they could be a dynasty, but my dad and I were talking today on the phone. Okay, so you look at the East. Let's take the Pacers out of the equation now. Let's take the
Celtics too.
Celtics out of the
Yeah.
equation. Knicks, it's do or die time
Yeah.
for you.
Cavs.
Cavs, watch out. He said, watch out for the Magic
I
because
was gonna say Orlando.
they
Yeah.
took the Celtics to the brink. You got other teams. Who else?
You can't really count out Milwaukee, although Dame Lillard's
Yeah,
likely out for the season next year as
yeah.
well.
Achilles.
Yeah, another Achilles.
Who else?
Detroit
Yeah.
had an awfully good
Yeah,
year,
that's
and
fun.
they're young as
Yep,
well.
that's what I like. Oh,
And I think I don't know if they'll ever be a hot destination for free agents, but it feels like they could be like an Oklahoma City,
mhm.
where they just kind of built and built and built, and then have a run in them. But again, it feels like OKC is very sustainable. Sam Presti needs to write a book on team building because he tore that thing down to the studs
Mhm.
and hit on some trades. I mean, trading Paul George to the Clippers for SGA completely changed their franchise.
We got some comments here, and then I do want to talk about the Western Conference going into next year. That Mooney said 3 for 4 in 7 minutes. There is guarantee. TJ powered them to stay in the game. He doesn't go down. Pacers have the ring. He might come back a lot quicker. And since with the string, it was already kind of messed up, so the trauma of the moment of it popping theoretically shouldn't be as bad as tear. And Travis Watering, huge Pacer fan, and we had him on 2 weeks ago on the pod. Probably missed most of the Pacer talk, about a heck of a run. Unfortunate ending with Hallie, but hopeful for a speedy recovery.
Yeah, that for diehard Pacer and any Pacer, really any NBA fan, but especially Pacer fans, watching that happen is just probably just pit in your stomach. I mean, is significantly less scale, obviously, for me, but watching Jalen Phillips, and this was a November NFL game, blow out his Achilles during the Dolphins season in 2023. I was sick to my stomach for like a week after. I can't imagine how Pacer fans are feeling having this happen in Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
I still never got over Robbie Hummel tearing his ACL 15 years ago
absolutely.
in
Yeah.
late February when they were rolling.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of Purdue basketball and Pacer fans just sick to their stomach last night.
Yeah.
But in the West, OKC I think will be the favorite, but you got to think the Lakers will be better now with Luka and LeBron getting more chemistry.
Season. Yep.
Rockets were a 2 seed this year. Now they had Durant.
Yep.
Timberwolves probably going to be good again.
Yeah, back-to-back conference finals appearance.
I do feel like the Nuggets window's starting to close, but you have the best player in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Still. So while you have him, you can't count them out. Warriors are old, but they're still tough.
They're still there. Yeah.
Mavericks, maybe they get better, assuming they draft Flag and the West is pretty.
West is loaded.
Pretty
Memphis was good this year too.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do. Because they kind of have a few. I wouldn't call them head cases, but some drama surrounding the Memphis Grizzlies. But they had a good season as well.
How about the Clippers?
That they're old, and you got to think. I think they'll still be like a playoff team, but they got to think about tearing it down and kind of starting over, trying to see what you can get for maybe a James Harden or something. Portland stinks. Utah stinks.
Suns don't have anybody on the roster right now.
Suns stunk last year with Booker and Beal and Durant, and it looks like they're trying to dump Beal's contract as well. So they'll stink. So it's the West is definitely King stink. Yeah. The West is definitely significantly better than the East. Even before the injuries to all those guys in the East, I think the West was quite a bit better. But
and the Spurs should be better.
Should be, yeah. You hopefully Wemby is back. Who knows how bad of an injury this was that he had? It was pretty scary. But yeah, with De'Aaron Fox, and they still have a very high draft. I think they're picking second or third this week on Thursday. So they should have a very good option there. I know they missed out on Durant because I know they were going hard after him. But you would think they'd be a lot better than they have been the past couple of years. So yeah.
Yeah, and Thad Moody's point here on Facebook, Detroit did well, and they get Ivy back, who broke his leg in January, February.
They took off when Ivy got hurt, so yeah, he might be a change of scenery.
Could
candidate.
be. I mean, he was starting for them when he
He
got
was.
hurt. So, but yeah, we will see. But yeah, back to Travis's point. Yeah, the Pacers had a heck of a run. Nothing for
Yeah.
them to hang their heads on. It was pretty cool to see the state of Indiana get into. I mean, just not Indianapolis, the whole state get back into the vibe of NBA basketball. For a run. It was pretty fun. I mean, going to the mall last week in Fort Wayne, one of the sports stores, right when you walk in was just rows and rows and rows of Pacers merch. Years past was like 2 rows.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'll be interested to see if that carries over
Right.
into the regular season. I hope so. I mean,
Yeah.
it's obviously arguably the best basketball state in the country.
Mm-hmm.
With all the high school, and then of course you have one good college team there. Butler is who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, send them back to the Horizon League.
But yeah, the Pacers deserve to have, and I think they've always had a very good fan base,
Sure.
a following because of that. But hopefully it carries over because they packed that place out.
I know a lot of Pacers fans were sitting here saying, "Oh man, if we just would have finished off Game 4," but I look at it, another way, like should have won Game 1.
Yeah,
and found a way, so it kind of evens out.
Evened out. Yeah.
But I'm sure a lot of Pacer fans are thinking, we had our chance, Game 7. When you're not guaranteed a chance again, and they're sitting here like thinking we're one of the best franchises, if not the best franchise that's never won a ring.
Yeah. Yeah, and just having that injury, it'll just be for a long time. Assuming, or not assuming, but if they do not win a title here soon, it'll be like, man, what if? Yep. And Netflix having that basketball show where they followed SGA all season, Halliburton, now Durant after this trade. That is going to be must-watch TV on Netflix.
Yeah, and speaking of Netflix, I mean, I still got more basketball to talk about, but I saw their QB show had an interesting cast too.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, with the season he had, Kirk Cousins that'll be fascinating to watch.
Jared Goff.
The
other one, right?
Yep. So
Cousins was on last year or 2 years ago.
Because I came away thinking, man, he's a very likable dude.
Yeah. This will be an interesting one though, with him being a backup to Penix and all of that. So that will be good.
My blind rankings this week has to do with the NBA. It's got to do with NBA Finals MVPs. That SGA was, of course, the Finals MVP. So, in a rare occurrence, the regular season MVP is also the Finals MVP.
Yeah,
the same year. Doesn't happen quite as often as you think it might. But I got some. These are all in our lifetime. But I chose some guys who are solid, but not like Mount Rushmore type. The type NBA players, starting with Chauncey Billups, who was the Finals MVP in 2004 for the Pistons.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
I think he might have just.
I think he might have gotten in too, but I wouldn't. I mean, he was a really good player. I don't know if he was Hall of Fame good, but they put him in anyway. Man, but Billups, I'm gonna put him 2.
2. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was perfect for that team.
He was.
Another point guard here. 07 Finals MVP for the Spurs, Tony Parker.
I'm okay having him behind Billups. 3.
3. Okay. 3. 08 Finals MVP for the Boston Celtics, the Truth, Paul Pierce.
1. Yeah, I'm good with that. So what do I have left? My 4 and 5? All right.
Yeah. All right. So who do I want to go 4 and 5 here? I'm trying to find. See, now I'm kind of stuck with, because who I wanted to pick. I'm gonna not do that. All right. I'm gonna throw two pretty good ones at you now,
All right.
since you're down to 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So, two-time Finals MVP,
Oh
2014 for
boy.
the Spurs, 2019 for the Raptors. Kawhi
Oh,
Leonard.
Kawhi. Man, 4.
Four,
Got to put him at 4.
four, four. And your boy, the Greek Freak, 2001 for the
Yeah,
Bucks.
he's my 5. Re-ranking.
Yeah.
I'd put Chauncey at 5. No, Parker 5, Chauncey 4. I'm gonna leave my 1 though. I'm gonna have Giannis 2 and Kawhi 3.
Okay.
Kawhi's inability to stay healthy has kind of knocked him down a peg. But Paul Pierce was dang good.
Well, the one I didn't want to throw in there, I could have thrown Andre Iguodala.
He would have been an easy
He'd have
5.
been 5.
I
So,
thought he was coming, so I was
I
leaving
mean,
that 5 of him for him.
listen to the NBA Finals MVPs in our lifetime. We're both born in 92. So you had Jordan 92, 93, Hakeem the Dream in 94, 95, Jordan 96, 97, 98, Duncan 99,
Yeah.
Shaq. I didn't realize this. Shaq in 2000, 2001, and 2002.
Oh wow, Kobe never got it, huh? At least that stretch.
That stretch. Duncan 03, Billups 04, Duncan again in 05, Dwayne Wade in 06, Parker 07, Pierce 08, Kobe 09, Kobe again in 2010, Dirk in 2011, LeBron in 2012 and 13, Kawhi 14, Andre Iguodala 15, LeBron again in 16, Durant in 17 and 18, Kawhi 19, LeBron again in 2020, Giannis 2021, Curry 22, Jokic in 23, Jalen Brown 24, and SGA this year.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's a lot of good ones.
Iguodala would have been an easy 5, but man, all of those are like top. A majority of those are like top 20 players to ever play, 25 players to ever play in our lifetime anyway. But Steph only won 1. Did I
Only
hear
won
that?
1. Yeah, your multi-time
won
winners.
twice.
Jordan has 6, LeBron has 4, Magic, Shaquille, and Duncan have 3. Willis, Reed, Kareem, Larry Bird, Hakeem Olajuwon, Kobe, Durant, and Kawhi have 2.
Okay.
In your teams, Lakers 13, Celtics 7, Bulls 6, Spurs and Warriors 5, Pistons Heat 3, Knicks, Rockets, Bucks, Thunder 2, because they count the Sonics. It says 1979.
Doesn't count.
Then Blazers, Bullets, Sixers, Mavericks, Cavs, Raptors, Nuggets 1. And then your zeros, the Hawks, Nets, Hornets, Pacers, Clippers, Grizzlies, Timberwolves, Pelicans, Magic, Suns, Kings, and Jazz.
Cool.
There we go. And that is the blind ranking segment for the week, which is brought to you by, like it is every week, Performer Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Performer Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs, so you need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815. You hit on it a little bit a few minutes ago, but the NBA draft coming up this week. First round on Thursday, second round on Friday.
Dislike.
I don't like that either. Get it all done in one night.
Yeah, there's no reason to drag it on. Who watches the second round of the NBA draft? Not me. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, Cooper Flagg will be number 1. It's like maybe the most cemented number 1 pick in a long time. Like it's been this way since he declared, and you knew, or it's been this way since November, essentially, that he'd be the number 1 pick, likely. Maybe Wembanyama was more set in stone, but yeah. Then you have some Big Ten guys. I think Derek Queen should be a first round pick. I'm blanking on Big Ten players.
Ace Bailey should be,
Ace
but
Bailey
it doesn't work out for anybody.
Doesn't work out.
What he's doing.
Ron Harper's son, whose name's escaping me. Dylan
Harper.
Dylan Harper will be likely number 2 overall. But yeah, Ace Bailey wants a guarantee that he'll be in the top 5, and he might slide because this guy's got immense talent. But maybe some character issues. Who knows? Maybe he's just young and dumb. He's 19 years old. He could just be
bad advice.
Getting bad advice from somebody. So who knows? He could be a good kid. This will be the J-Man's booking prediction of the week. I think for the first time, maybe ever, I should have done more research on this, but for the first time in a long time anyway, my Illini will have 2 players taken in the top 20. Um, last time they had 2 first-round picks were D. Will and Luther Head back in 2005. Um, Kasparis Yakichonis has been kind of a consensus lottery pick. Seen him anywhere from like 6th to 13th. Will Riley is more known or more talked about as being picked from anywhere from like 20 to 35. So there's a chance he doesn't go in the top 20.
I'm doing some
But
research. You said top 20?
top
Doing a
20.
quick one? Okay.
Yeah. They've only had 2 first-round picks since 2005.
1948, they were close. They had Jack Burmaster and Johnny Orr. But this is the BAA. It's the NBA. They were both second-round picks at 19 and 21.
Oh.
But that was pick overall, I believe, because I don't think they had
No, I can't
too
imagine
many
that many
teams in the
rounds.
BAA. So
No, never heard of the BAA.
I'm doing some research here.
But yeah, KJ will be a lottery pick. It'd be a surprise if he's not a lottery pick. Could open up with the Suns at I think number 10 is where they're picking now. Yeah, Will Riley has that projectable frame, can shoot it a little bit, but he's skinny as a rail. So he needs to put on some weight, and I bet he spends the majority of this first year in the G League. Confident, not confident they'll be both top 20 picks, but cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, they've never had 2 top 20
It'll be the
picks.
first time ever.
Yeah, 05, they were close.
ever.
Darren
Yeah.
went 3rd and Luther went 24th.
24th. Yeah, Shannon last year went 27th, I believe. Then 2 years before that, Io went in the second round. He should in a redraft, he'd probably be a lottery pick, if not just outside the lottery.
They list Podzimski
Pajemski, yeah,
Illinois as a
first round
19th pick in 2023.
Yeah, that's a thing that a lot of Illinois fans talk about is Underwood screwed him over. Well, are you playing a freshman Brandon Pajemski that couldn't guard a chair over a 5th-year Trent Frazier?
No.
I'm not either. And so Pajemski transfers down a level to Santa Clara, and he put up great numbers, ends up being a first-round pick. Good on
all
him.
rookie team.
And he was an all-rookie team, had a pretty good second year this year with Golden State, started for him. But you're not playing him over a 5th-year Trent Frazier who'd won a ton of games. I mean, he's your glue guy. Even an Alfonso Plummer who shot the heck out of the ball that year. He's a 5th-year guy. You're not playing him over him. I wish I would have kept him because he would have been great on that next year's team, but didn't work out. So time to move on.
It's interesting looking at this Wikipedia page for Illinois basketball. They list 4 rivals for Illinois. What 4 do you think?
I'm gonna say Northwestern.
Yep.
Probably on there. I would say Iowa is on there. They should be.
Yep.
I would say probably Purdue's on there.
No.
Not on there. Huh? Indiana.
Yep.
And Missouri.
Yep.
I'd swap out Indiana for Purdue at this point.
I would too.
I feel like that's heating up quite a bit here the past couple years that they've both been good. Yeah, it used to be like, man, Indiana was the most hated college basketball program for Illinois fans, but I don't know who that is now. I think it probably is Purdue, just because they've been really good and Illinois has been able to beat them really. They don't care about Northwestern or even Iowa at that point. I'd say Iowa, they hate them more in football than they do basketball, but Missouri definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And didn't you say that football rivalry is coming back soon?
I believe it starts next year, if not in 2027. I think it's coming back soon. Last I heard. So yeah, it'll be. I know they've been clamoring for it. They haven't had it in 15 years. I think 2011.
Yeah,
10 or 11 was the last time. I think. Maybe 2009. Maybe it was 2009.
I think it was 2009. I think we were in high school.
Yeah. And then they got rid of it for some reason because it was always like a
good game.
Pretty good game usually. And Missouri would usually win. But
did you do the read? I'm sorry if you did already. I
I haven't. I am glad you said something, or I would have forgot. J-Man's Book of Producer of the Week brought to you by Travis Watering, Insurance Agency for Life, Home, Auto, Business, Renters, Workers' Comp, and Farm Insurance. Contact us at 219-869-4561.
I was so in the zone of doing research, I couldn't remember if you read it and I just missed it
I
or
didn't.
not. So,
Nope.
go back to all these Big Ten guys in the draft. A lot of them are stud players in college, but I don't know if any of them will be great pros.
No, no, I don't think anyone will be a star. That's for sure. I think some of them can carve out a decent role, but I don't see any like all stars in there. I mean, you have the freshmen, of course. You kind of hope that they can
Sure.
progress because they're so young. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't see any stars in the making. Of course, we never thought Franz Wagner would turn out to be a really good
No,
player either, and now he's a stud for Orlando.
I didn't think OG Ananobi would be as
Or
good
him.
of a
Yeah,
pro.
I agree with that one as well.
Duncan Robinson I mean, he's not anymore,
Yeah,
but a little bit.
carving out a
Yeah.
role at all in the NBA was surprising, and he got a pretty good contract there a few
Mhm.
years ago too. So yeah, you never know. But yeah, I don't think any of them will be a star.
I did see where Jace Richardson didn't even get a green room invite.
Yeah, he's an interesting one because he's a great athlete, like his daddy. Um, he's much smaller though. He's only six
Yeah.
foot one. He's a pretty good shooter, but I mean, is he a point guard? He kind of has to be at that height, you would think, and even at that height now in the NBA, you're kind of at a disadvantage. So it'll be interesting to see if he's a first round pick. 'Cause he has been mocked in the first round a bunch, but I think if he would have come back for another year in school, he would have been one of the better players in the league. Glad he didn't.
CBS Sports here has let's see, the most likely pick for every team inside the top 10. Mavericks, of course, is Cooper Flag. The Spurs is Dylan Harper at
Hmm.
2.
Yeah,
Sixers, VJ
Edgecombe, Baylor.
Edgecombe, yeah. Yeah. Hornets, oh,
Oh,
that's a,
Knapple
yep,
from
yep.
Duke, great shooter.
Ace Bailey's number 2 on like all these guys right now.
Yeah,
Trey Johnson, number 5 to the
Texas.
Jazz. Ace Bailey, 6 to the Wizards. Jeremiah Fears, 7 to the Pelicans.
He was in the line I
He's also
commit.
the favorite to go 8 to the Nets. Um, a European dude, 9th to the Raptors. Nope. Never mind. I read that wrong. I went too far down. The dude from Duke, who's got
Oh, the big
uh,
guy.
K-Man
Uh,
I don't know how to pronounce the last name. And
yeah,
10th is your boy KJ, 10th to the Suns. Yep.
yeah. We'll see.
Yep. Yep.
I always like drafts regardless of sport. So I haven't watched the NBA draft. Well, I watched it a little bit last year just because I knew Shannon had a chance to go in the first round. Year before, I don't think I watched it at all. This year, I might. I'll watch a little bit of it. Probably not tuned in like I am to the NFL or even MLB draft at this point. I get pretty locked into that one.
Yeah, I get real locked into NFL. Don't watch any of the MLB if I'm being honest. But the NBA, if I know if Purdue has a guy getting drafted,
Yeah.
I tune in. Like I wanted to see where Edie was going to go last year. He
Mhm.
goes 9th. Yeah, Ivy 2 years before that. But I might tune in on Thursday if I'm not watching anything else. But it's not gonna be
Background noise.
appointment. Not gonna be
No,
appointment television for me.
no, me either.
You know. You know. But you got some on this day because
I
I feel like
do.
I need to
Keep
get
you
smartened up a
educated,
little
huh?
bit. Yeah.
On this day in 1915, the Yankees get walked a record 16 times and beat the Athletics 15-0.
So that record has stood for 115 years.
I would say it's probably
110
yeah, I would
years.
say yeah, 110 years.
110
I would
years.
say
Good
that's
math there.
probably yeah. On this day in 1917, Ernie Shore enters game after Boston Red Sox pitcher Babe Ruth is ejected for throwing a punch at an umpire. He retired all 26 batters he faced. And
Umpire probably deserves it.
it's ruled a combined no hitter because Babe Ruth got one out in the first inning. It's kind of funny.
What would have happened that early in the game for Babe to punch
I
out an
know.
umpire?
I've been very angry after a single batter watching Major League Baseball before, so I get it. I get it.
You were angry after like the first pitch of the year.
I was 3 batters in, and I was ready for robots. I tell you what. On this day in, um, we're in the 50s now. Ernie Banks in 1961, Cubs Ernie Banks ended his 717 consecutive games played streak.
That's a lot of games.
That is not nearly as much as Lou Gehrig or Cal Ripken.
No, that won't ever be broken.
No. On this day in 1963, who won the U.S. Open men's golf?
Let's go with Gary Player.
It was Julius Boros, who won his second Open title in an 18-hole playoff with Arnold Palmer and Jackie Cupid.
Good guys to beat.
On this day in 1971, Philadelphia Philly Rick Wise no-hit the Cincinnati Reds, and he hit 2 homers and drove in 3.
That's got to be one of the greatest games ever.
That's a pretty good game there for him. On this day in 1975, who won the U.S. Open?
75. Oh, let's go with Jack.
It was Lou Graham, his only major championship. On this day in 1981, the longest game in professional baseball, the Pawtucket Red Sox finally beat the Rochester Red Wings 3-2 in 33 innings.
I want to know how many people stayed for all 33.
Well, the game began April 18th, so it must have been a suspended game, and they just kept going. So,
okay.
Yeah. Can't imagine there were too many holdovers.
Probably not.
On this day in 1988, the Charlotte Hornets and Miami Heat begin their NBA expansion draft. On this day in 1988 as well, Billy Martin's 5th term with the New York Yankees ended, and Lou Piniella was named manager.
Sweet Lou.
On this day in 2003, Barry Bonds steals second base against the LA Dodgers, becoming the first player in MLB history to have 500 homers and 500 steals.
Loyal viewer of the show, Sean Shriver, texted me, said the Rick Wise performance is why there should never have been a DH.
He's a baseball purist, for sure. I was tired of watching pitchers hit 110, have an easy out.
Nobody pays to watch the pitchers hit.
Yeah, I will say that it brings interleague play used to be this huge deal. You remember that? Where they had set times in May, set times in June, where everyone was playing interleague play. It used to be a big deal, and now it's not a big deal anymore. It's a normal game. You don't even realize. I mean, it's a team out of your league, but Cubs just played the Mariners over the weekend, and I didn't even think anything of it. It was just another series.
And the cross league rivalries were bigger. White Sox, Cubs, Mets, Yankees. It was a big deal.
Definitely,
you knew when they were playing. You knew what network.
Yeah. And now that's gone, and a lot of it has to do with, of course, the DH is here, but now every single team plays each other every single year instead of just set divisions play each other. On this day in 2011, Kawhi Leonard is selected with the 15th overall pick in the 2011 NBA draft by the Indiana Pacers and traded to the San Antonio Spurs on draft night.
Or George Hill.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who was the number 1 overall pick in 2011?
John Wall.
Kyrie Irving.
Oh.
Wall was 2010.
Okay. I'm not good at that. I am not good at number 1 NBA draft picks by year. Awful.
Who was the number 1 overall pick in 2016?
Gosh. Oh, was that oh crud. Was that the dude who can't shoot on the Sixers?
Yeah, Ben Simmons.
What was his name? Yes.
Simmons, you got it.
Yep. I was also I wasn't thinking Simmons. I was thinking the other one that couldn't shoot.
Oh, Markelle Fultz.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking.
Yeah, I think
Simmons can't shoot either.
Yeah, I think it's next year. That'll do it for On This Day this week.
And that is the On This Day segment, which is brought to you by Mooney Wood Laser Crafts. Mooney Wood Laser Crafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of Texas with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs that fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of their recently completed projects by visiting them at Mooney Wood Laser Crafts. I am struggling with this read tonight. On Instagram and on Facebook, let them know the Tana J-Man Show sent you for 15% off your first sign order. And Thad just sent me 2 pictures here. It says, hot off the press, kiddos drew on the iPad. He's got his logo right there on a tumbler. Mooney Wood Laser Crafts.
Nice.
And the drawings his kids did on the iPad.
Nice.
Yeah, bunch of stick figures. Yeah, it's a lot better than I could have done.
Cool. Oh yeah. Seen both of our drawings. Not great. Not great.
And my dad is and always has been in favor of the DH. He wanted me to make that known instead of the pitcher.
Yeah, I jumped on the bandwagon early on. I would say 2015 at the latest is when I was okay. It's time. Pitchers are too good. You don't need guys out here trying to hit a baseball. Get more hitters, get more offense, and it's worked. So
there is a guy in MLB that's a heck of a hitter. That is a pitcher too. At least he is a pitcher again.
Yeah,
Ohtani, back to the mound.
He's back pitching. I think he's throwing 1 inning bursts every couple days, maybe every 5 days. He's easing him back in. It's kind of interesting though, because I mean, usually guys, come back from injury, they have to go down to the minor leagues and build up their innings and all that. Can't do that with Shohei because he's your best hitter. So it's created a weird, interesting dynamic where you just kind of have to let him, figure it out. And so I imagine all season he'll likely be like 1, maybe 2 inning burst. Maybe by the end of the year they'll get him up to 3 innings. Can't imagine he's throwing a full 6 innings by the end of the season. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. But you don't want him blowing out his arm again. So I know he's a $700 million guy, but you have prized goods there. You can't go damage them. But yeah, around baseball, it was a weird week for the Cubs where they went 2-3 at home, 1-1 against the Brewers and lost 2-3 to the Seattle Mariners. They had a rain out in between. It was just kind of a clunky week for them. But it really highlighted their need for pitching. Pitching.
Finally voiced yourself on Twitter. You've been very quiet this year, but you finally came out and said, come on, Jed, go get some pitching.
Go get some pitching. And there's a report today from Bruce Levine that he would not be surprised if the Cubs make some sort of trade for a starting pitcher within the next 7 to 10 days.
You have any guys you'd like?
It's so hard right now because there's so few for sure sellers.
Yeah.
That there's not guys out there that I'm like, okay, go and get them.
Yeah.
I'm wanting Arizona to start really falling back. They're 8 back in the West. They are only 3.5 back of a wild card spot. So they're not going to give up on their season yet, even though Corbin Burns is out for the year. They have 2 pitchers on expiring contracts, Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, who would be ideal, as well as third baseman Eugenio Suarez, who is maybe the biggest Cub killer in the history of baseball. It'd be nice to have him manning the hot
I feel
corner.
like that's a
lot of players.
Yeah.
A lot of players. But Suarez, I think, I'm going to go look up his stats against the Cubs real quick because it is absurd. I mean, he's had a very good career, 301 career homers. I would say close to a third of those are against the Cubs. I know that's not accurate, but it awfully feels like that. I mean, he did it didn't matter what team he was playing with. It mainly was with the Reds. Then he went to Seattle and he hit a couple homers against them. Now he's in Arizona and he had like 4 homers first week of the year against them. So I would like him on my team, but then of course he'll come to the Cubs. And he played 132 games in his career against the Cubs, and he has hit 36 homers in 132 games. The next closest opponent is the Pittsburgh Pirates, where he's hit 27. So a big time Cub killer, and but they're 3.5 games out of a wild card spot, so I don't think they're going to be willing to trade any of their guys up until probably right at the deadline. We got another month and a half before that. The Braves are another fascinating one. That would be very nice for them to officially fall out of the race. They're 11 out of the East, 7 out of a wild card spot. I want Chris Sale.
Sure
It'd
you
take a
do.
lot. He has 2 years left in his deal, which makes it trickier because the Braves are very good talent wise, and they could just be we're going to hold on to him and go for another run next year, and that would drive the price up too if it's he's under contract for 2 years. But I would love Chris Sale. They need pitchers that can miss bats because we saw how good their pitching was in April and May when the wind was blowing in. The wind was howling out all weekend, and they gave up 9 runs on Friday, 7 runs Saturday, 14 runs yesterday, and gave up a ton of home runs. Need guys that can miss bats. Shota Imanaga will be back Thursday after missing close to 7 weeks with that hamstring issue. He's another guy that gets a ton of fly balls. So wind blowing out in Wrigley and fly ball pitcher's not an ideal situation. But yeah, 2 and 3 week didn't play all that well. But every team goes through rough stretches. It's June. Heck, the 2016 Cubs team lost 15 of 20 games heading into the All-Star break. And it felt like
Wish
the
I could
sky
dig
was
up some of
falling.
your tweets back then.
Yeah, I tweeted a lot back then, for sure. I've scaled it back significantly because a lot of my thoughts need to just be kept to myself, is what I tell myself. But no, I've been happy with the way things have shook out so far. Brewers are still in it though. They gained a couple games on them this week. They're hot. They're 8 games over 500 now, 3.5 out. Cardinals 4.5 out. Reds 6.5 out. Pirates 16 out.
And I know this is never going to happen, but hypothetically, just play with me here. What would you get? Would you give up whatever it took to get Paul Skeens if the Cubs could? I mean, whatever.
Oh yeah. Especially right now when he's under team control for 5-6 more years.
Yeah.
I'd give up whatever it takes.
Yeah.
He is the kind of guy you obviously every team wants. I'd like to see what sort of package it would take to get a guy like him. I don't think there's a single team in baseball that could put together a package that would be good enough to get him. But yeah, 100%. I'd drain the farm system for him. I give up all top 30 prospects in the farm system to get a Paul Skeens because he could be the difference between winning a World Series and not.
Yeah.
But and it'd take even more because it'd be an intra-division trade, which would make it even worse. But yeah, Skeens isn't going anywhere. I know there's been talk. Might as well trade him now because you guys will never be good. Which would be stupid. Wait a few years for that. But yeah, Chris Sale would be number one on my list, but I have a very hard time believing that they would, the Braves would deal him. Miami's got a few pitchers, Edwin Cabrera, Sandy Alcantara, that are very interesting. But elsewhere around the league, Twins have a few guys. The Royals have been very disappointing. Maybe they decide to sell. Cleveland as well.
All three of those teams started off pretty good this year and have just fallen back.
Yeah. Twins started off terrible, but then they got hot in May and ended up like 8 games over 500. Now they're 3 games under 500.
Mm-hmm.
Royals have been very disappointing. But yeah, we talked about it last week, the Giants making the trade for Rafael Devers. And so good for them to kind of jumpstart the market. I think it's probably more of just a one-off sort of deal. I don't think it'll have, lasting effects into June that teams will start making trades yet. I think usually, and Jed Hoyer even said this, that it really heats up after the All-Star break because you got a few weeks in between All-Star break and trade deadline to get deals done. So yeah, Washington I'd love Mackenzie Gore from Washington, a lefty who is an absolute stud, but he's a guy I'm sure Washington wants to build around in that rotation. But big week for the Cubs this week where they have 7 games on the road. Their first games against the St. Louis Cardinals are tonight, June 23rd.
That's crazy.
Stupid, one would say. It's a 4-game set in St. Louis, so you hope to split. That's kind of what I'm going in, hoping they split. And then they face the hottest team in baseball, the Houston Astros, in Houston. So it'll be Kyle Tucker's coming back home to not home, but coming back to the team he once came up with and played with. Same with Ryan Presley as well. He was there past couple of years. But so it's going to be a tough week for them, and you hope they just kind of, stay okay until they can get reinforcements, because they need it terribly with the pitching staff. They also uh, could use a bat. Their offense has been awesome all season, but third base has really been a black hole. Matt Shaw started the season as their third base and sent him back down. Then they called him back up, and he was pretty good for the first 2 weeks or so. But now, since June 6th, he's hitting under 200. That's why I want like an Eugenio Suarez or something. But I've also seen Cubs fans in the media start to complain a little bit how the Cubs cannot beat good teams. They're 22-6 against teams under 500 this season. They're 24-25 against teams 500 or better, which I think is pretty dang good. The goal every year, go 500 against the good teams, beat up on the bad teams.
Yep.
That's how about every single playoff team ever has done it. Because teams that are over 500 are pretty good and hard to beat. So, 24-25 is very, very good, in my opinion, against teams
I would
500.
say for teams above 500, there's not that much difference between a team's barely over 500 or a team like the Tigers right now, 49-30.
Oh, 100%. They're good teams, and Cubs have 7 games against teams over 500 this week. So hopefully they can get it at least to 500. But even in 2016, they had I think they were above 500 against teams over over 500, but they weren't that much above 500. They beat up on the Reds that year. I remember they beat up on the Pirates. They beat up on about everyone that was bad for one, but in good teams. But every single year it's they can't beat the good teams. Well, they were so awesome against the good teams in April, and now it's kind of leveled out a little bit, which is to be expected. So hopefully they can have a halfway decent week this week. But elsewhere around the sport, the Tampa Bay Rays are also one of the hottest teams in baseball. They find themselves just 2.5 games behind the New York Yankees in the AL East. Tigers have a commanding lead in the Central. Houston's 5 up in the West. Dodgers are starting to separate themselves a little bit, 3.5 up on the Giants, 5 up on the Padres. Philadelphia Phillies have gotten hot after losing 9 of 10 a few weeks ago, and now they are leading the NL East by a game over the New York
Mets have not been hot.
They have not played very well here.
2-8 the last 10.
Yeah, in which it's coincided with Juan Soto having like his best stretch of the year too.
Interesting.
So it's kind of interesting. But I did have a fan question today from one of the our good friends of the show and mediocre college football 25 player, Aaron Lynch, who asked me, season ends today, who's your AL MVP? Is it Aaron Judge or is it the big dumper, Cal Raleigh? Raleigh, 31 homers before the All-Star break, most ever by a switch hitter, most ever by a catcher before the All-Star break. But Aaron Judge is hitting 367 with a 468 on base, a 727 slugging, leading baseball in WAR. I'm still going unanimous decision for Judge, even though what Cal Raleigh
he would win it. He would win it. Let's be honest.
100%.
Yeah.
He
would
win. And what Raleigh's doing is awesome. I mean, he's a catcher who's hit 31 homers. He's on pace for over 60 bombs. I mean, he is equal to the pace McGuire and Sosa were at this point in 1998. Playing with the Mariners hurts him in a sense, but his OPS is still 100 points lower than Aaron Judge's is. Very good player, but give me Aaron Judge for right now. And I assume that's gonna last into the season. But that's my baseball talk. You want to get a birdie here this week?
I want to get a bogey.
All right. What player has the most career touchdowns while throwing less than 150 interceptions in his career?
Somebody who definitely took care of the ball. That's tough though. 100 less than 150, so he didn't. Every guy I think of had to throw more than that because every guy I can think of played for a long time. So under 150 career interceptions and through the most touchdowns. This isn't right, but I'm going with Andrew Luck.
That's a guess.
It's not a good guess.
Aaron Rodgers.
I would have never guessed he would throw it under 150.
Yep, under
Playing that many
100.
years.
The most passing touchdowns in NFL history with for a quarterback with fewer than career 150 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers.
How many has
Russell
he
Wilson.
thrown?
This included the postseason. Sorry, I didn't add that one.
That's
in
okay.
There. Aaron Rodgers 548. Russell Wilson is second with 377. Kirk Cousins fourth, 293, and Patrick Mahomes fourth, 291.
How many does it say how many interceptions they've thrown?
It doesn't
Okay,
say
that's
how many interceptions, but
Jeez,
I knew Rodgers had some seasons where he threw less than 5 interceptions, which is absurd. But I'm gonna go look it up here real quick before we sign off.
What a bad guess! I'm embarrassed. That's almost as bad as the Aaron Judge guess.
It's not nearly as bad as the Aaron Judge guess. Rodgers has thrown only 116 interceptions in his career.
Wow,
that is wild.
Wow,
pretty good. Can't stand the guy, but he's pretty good. Pretty good. Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show. We'll be back at her next Monday where I can add to my bogey total. Have a fantastic week, everybody.